landslide that has been slipping in San Clemente has now caused railroad service suspensions through Orange County, as well as shutting down a local landmark.
And local officials say they're unsure when things will get back to normal.
Ed Lascos is live in San Juan Capistrano with the latest on this slide. Ed.
Susan, we're getting an updated look now at that hillside and the damage it is bringing. The mayor with an update saying the earth in that area continues to move by the very day, continuing to threaten the tracks that are down below on the bottom of that hillside. So for the third time in the last 2 years, the commuter rail service in this part of the OC is now suspended until who knows when. Watch. A railway catastrophe in the OC. That from lawmakers as the rails are quiet here again. Metrolink and Amtrak both suspending service through South Orange County after the latest landslide hits the tracks in San Clemente.
This time a lot more significant because the debris and the dirt and the slide is actually landing on the railroad tracks. So we're really worried about that.
Worried, she says, as the ground is still moving and even more is threatening to let loose.
More earth is moving every day. We come out here and look, and it's a bit worse. So it's pretty tragic for all of us.
So now they've done a boring hole over here with it.
That as lawmakers get an up-close look at the unstable hillside. The mayor says this landslide really hits home, continuing to threaten the historic Casa Romantica.
It's heartbreaking. It's tragic, really. I mean, this is of tremendous historical and really personal importance to all of us who live in San Clemente.
The site itself now red tagged. Most of the back patio, check it, it's crumbling. The hillside once underneath is gone. There is nothing left but a steep cliff below.
You come back here, you see the amount of earth that has moved down the hillside. Your heart just absolutely drops and your eyes well up because this is just so important to all of us. And so we're really struggling through the situation.
It's already disrupted the wedding plans of so many as the popular historic venue, heavily booked through next year, is now unsafe as lawmakers warn that landslide is an economic disaster.
Roughly $1 billion a year in economic impact on our region. So when the rail corridor is shut down, even for a week, a month, we're talking about tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars in regional economic impact.
For now, they're mostly waiting for the earth to just stop moving, to stabilize somehow, so they can start making repairs, but no one knows when that will happen, bringing this dire warning to those who ride the rails.
I don't see the tracks opening up anytime soon. They are working on alternative busing to be able to get people who use the rail system for work, for school, and those kinds of things.
And now live for the thousands of those rail commuters that she's talking about. They've had to deal with this before, and they're planning to do the same type of procedure, bringing in a lot of transit buses, also giving out vouchers to Uber riders just to move the commuters around to try to ease the nightmare for these thousands of folks who, as they say, have no other choice but to ride the rails. The other focus, though, is on that historic site above the hillside, some condos up there, too. They're just holding their breath, a lot of the lawmakers, saying we hope there's no more slippage from that hillside. It calms down so they can start shoring it up, and there's no more losses in those areas. For now, we are live here, San Juan Capistrano. Back to the west side we go.
Very good, Ed. Thank you. Developing news now from Santa Monica. One person is killed, several others are injured in a crash on PCH. It happened near the California Incline. Police say a Kia attempted to turn left onto Beach Lot 4 North. That's when a Toyota Camry T-boned the Kia. 10 victims in all, including 2 small children. Authorities have not yet released a name or description of the person who died.
The manhunt continues for the suspect in Texas who killed 5 of his neighbors, including an 8-year-old boy. The nightmare unfolded when they asked him to stop firing a gun so they could go to sleep. Fox correspondent Christina Coleman has the latest.
A manhunt is now underway for the killer. Sheriff's deputies identified the gunman as 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza, a Mexican national. The shooting happened around 11:30 Friday night in Cleveland, Texas, about 45 miles north of Houston. Authorities believe Oropeza has since fled into a heavily wooded area less than 2 miles from the crime scene. However, the suspect's location is unclear at this time.
We consider him armed and dangerous, and we're not going to stop until we actually arrest him and bring him into custody. but he is out there and he's a threat to the community.
The San Jacinto County Sheriff says the deadly shooting happened after neighbors complained about gunfire. Investigators say Oropeza had been drinking and firing off an AR-15 style rifle in his yard Friday night. A neighbor told him a baby was trying to sleep and asked him to stop firing his weapon. Authorities say that's when Oropeza resorted to violence.
He says it's his property. He'll do whatever he pleases on his property. The man went back in the house. Next thing they know, he's walking up the driveway with the rifle in hand.
The sheriff says Oropeza went into the neighbor's house and shot and killed 5 people. They identified the victims as 3 women who range in age from 21 to 31 years old, an 18-year-old and an 8-year-old boy. 10 people were in the house at the time of the mayhem. 5 of them survived. The FBI is the lead agency investigating this shooting. Reporting in Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
The hunt is on for 3 suspects after a violent home invasion robbery in Bel Air Crest. The victims, a husband and wife, are recovering from their injuries. Fox 11's Laura Diaz has the story.
We're concerned that this is continuing to increase, and it makes you feel very unsafe in what was a very safe neighborhood.
A home invasion robbery on Casiano Road in a quiet Bel Air Crest neighborhood Friday night had neighbors on edge Saturday afternoon. This video shows the LAPD Friday night on the scene, pouring over the hillside home, looking for clues into the violent incident. That's where 3 masked men entered a home through an unlocked sliding door and demanded valuables at gunpoint of a woman in her 70s. She was packing for a trip at the time. Family members say the assailants threw a hood over the woman and bound her. They then unplugged the high-grade security camera system. For 3 hours, the woman and later her husband were bound and gagged, even though they protested they had no property. It didn't stop the terror. The adult son of the victims describes a terrifying ordeal for his elderly parents. He says that they were trapped inside the home for 3 hours, bound and gagged. As the trio of suspects went through the home, they scoured the home looking for valuables, and then they dumped bleach to cover their tracks. Ultimately, you can see right here, they pulled a safe out of the home, and according to the son, they got just a small amount of cash and left.
That they were home. This occurred around 8 o'clock at night, and this is about the first one that we know of where they were home in the evening. So it does sort of raise everybody's red flags and is putting everybody on edge.
During the rampage, the husband was injured as well as the wife. Both refused treatment from paramedics on the scene. In Bel Air Crest, Laura Diaz, Fox 11 News.
And then hours later, not far from where that home invasion occurred, there was another brazen break-in with a homeowner still inside the house. This one in Beverly Glen. The homeowner says she heard a ruckus, rushed downstairs, and came face to face with danger.
I heard some banging, and usually there are a lot of accidents here, so I looked outside. There was no accident, and I came down, and I'm looking around the house, and I saw 2 guys like running out from behind the window. And I ran out because I wasn't sure what's going on, and I was screaming and yelling.
No details on what, if anything, they took, and the homeowner did not get a good look at the 2 guys. She says they may have driven away in a white sedan.